a stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch. She's the flower of the flower coach.
Welcome, everybody. Look, I got my classic Marvel Avengers shirt on here. Just like there's Kirby on there, and Romita, and Bob Layton, and Buscema. I don't want to pull this up too far. Shock the world. That's not Trimpy. That's Romita, I think. Anyway, not advertising new Marvel. I'm advertising classic Marvel, the Marvel that we all remember and fondly and still love. Welcome to Aaron Live. This is a last second live stream. I am Aaron, and I am still alive, hanging on by a thread. It's kind of a lunchtime live stream. I guess I should have put that in the title card. Aaron live stream, or last second live stream, lunchtime edition, something like that. But it's a lot of words, and I'm a guy of few words unless I'm talking. Okay. So I'm going to draw today because of the Wraith of God campaign. The Wraith of God Blood Hunters campaign has stretch goals, and we've hit a bunch of those stretch goals, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second. But first, let's look at this delicious dark chocolate covered almond. Not quite as good as a raisinette, but right up there. I'm usually not a snacker except on Sunday shows, but had a little spillover today. Let's take a look at the chat, shall we? Look at this. Leg kick is the first one here. So I can say leg kick, you get absolutely nothing for being the first one here. And I can also say leg kick is here because leg kick is almost always here. Now here's a question. I'm first. And what do I get? The hair on top of Aaron's head? Well, as you can see, this is, I just shaved this nicely coiffed just this morning. So there's very little to be had. Elon Mudd is here. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Elon. Thanks for joining us. DJ Close is here. Kevin Thomas. Of course, where's Shelly? Let me see if I can find her. Oh, here she is. She's teaching and has a doctor's appointment and then is back to teaching. So, what are you going to do? So it's just me. But I got David Williams coming in. So you're going to have that, which will be nice. So we got that going for me, which is nice. Okay, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Kevin he just took a cannonball in the gut, probably right where he was eating lunch. So it came all out, but he's about to eat lunch. So perfect timing. That's what we're here for, is to make your life easier, Kevin. Dr. Mask's Retro Elixir is here. Blackjack, shaved and buffed. For certain, as you can see, it's all shiny up here. I should be wearing my hat, but to defeat the glare, but I don't know. It's laying around here someplace. This is a last second live stream, and you guys know when you join me for last second live streams, I'm completely unprepared. That's why it's a last second live stream. So, I'm lucky I'm actually sitting in a chair in front of this camera. Okay, so what do we got going on? Well, let's take a quick look at this. After I push 6 buttons. All right. This is the Wraith of God campaign, which is live right now. This is the second Wraith of God campaign. This is Blood Hunters. You see you got a bald vampire up there. I'm all about bald characters. Although all of his wives have long flowing hair. So sort of, it counterbalances. So anyway, you're saying, Aaron, so okay, we know about the campaign. But if you don't know about the campaign, you have 3 cover options. The wraparound cover right there. This is doesn't have the trade dress on it, but it will. There's the Tales of Suspense option from 1965-ish, kind of a throwback, retro homage, whatever. And then, of course, the Tomb of Dracula #1 tribute cover, dating back to 1972. So there's a lot of retro, because I'm a retro guy. When you're old, you become retro. There's some interior pages for you to look at. Those are really nice on the page. A couple of Garbage Man backup stories. It's colored by Gabe L.T. Abe. And then this is by Dan Lawless. You can get a Garbage Man print to go nicely with your Wraith of God print you got in the last campaign. Ruff's Ash Can. That's always nice to kind of peel back the curtain and take a look at page layouts and stuff for this that went into making this comic. So if you like the process, this is a great book to add on to your order. This is the Merv the Astro Chimp trading card, also known as the Phil Diaz card, that everybody gets for free if they signed up early and then ordered. So, okay, so let's take a look at the stretch goals. We have the load at $40,000, which we're already past. You get the retro editorial page with character value stamp added to the book. And maybe I'll take a poll here and find out which value stamp you guys would like to see. Excuse me. At 50,000, which we've already passed and unlocked, you get a letters page, kind of classic Marvel style. At 60,000, which is unlocked, every backer receives one of the new collectible Kit Carter Galactic Ranger trading cards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we're here today. We are going to, and by we, I mean me, I'm going to draw the Kit Carter trading card. So how about them apples? So that's why you tuned in, and that's I'm going to deliver. Let's not forget, however, though, while I'm here, we have T-shirts available. There's the Werewolf, Bloody Werewolf T-shirt by Dale Keown and Gail L.T. Abe. You can order one of those all the way up to 4X. We have Garbage Man Green, Garbage Man White. That is by me. And, of course, the classic Wraith of God T-shirt from the last campaign is available once again, and that is, of course, by me. We also have now the Empire Comics baseball hat. I'm really excited to get these, especially, well, I was going to say for the fall, but we won't have them by the fall. You'll be getting them in the spring. But anyway, it'll be during baseball season. But no, I love these caps. We had beanies last time. This time we're doing baseball caps, so I'm really kind of excited about these. That is a stitched on Empire Comics logo right there, by the way. You can get some add-ons too. You can add, if you missed the first Wraith of God, which may be the best reviewed book of the year, you can still order a copy as an add-on through this campaign. You can get a Garbage Man trade paperback if you missed that. Power Cube's sold out at the moment, but well, I'm trying to get more, but delays, nothing but delays. But anyway, I'll keep you posted on that. We have the Wraith of God shot glass and the Garbage Man shot glass. So Wraith of God shot glass, there it is, laser etched into the glass, baby. And Garbage Man laser etched into the glass. So you can wash these and you have to worry about it coming off. Shelley likes to wash it with some Fireball. You may use soap and water if you choose to. Okay. Let's one more second here. Let's see what everybody's saying, and then we'll get to drawing. Okay. Blackjack, of course. We got that out. Dan Genovesi says that's the cover I backed. We can only guess which one it is now. I'm guessing the Tomb of Dracula. I'm just guessing. I'm throwing it out there. I may be wrong. Dr. Mask says, I got to get the Dracula tribute. See if I have some extra dough in a week or so. A lot of great books out there right now. It is so true. But as I like to look at it, start at the top, which would be my campaign, and you back that first, and then, kind of trickle down from there. Of course, I'm just joking. Dr. Mask wants a Kit Carter ray gun. Anything is possible as we move forward through the Lopresti-verse and the campaigns continue to grow and expand and all that kind of stuff. What's on my shirt? It's a classic old Avengers design. As I said earlier, you got Kirby, Romita, Bob Layton. It looks like John Byrne, Hawkeye there. I'm not sure who drew that Hulk. I want to say maybe Romita. It's definitely not Buscema. It's definitely not Trimpe. I think it's Romita. Kirby, Captain America, Buscema, What do we got down here? Oops, here. That could be Perez, maybe. I doubt it. I'm not sure. So anyway, yeah, it's they had them at J.C. Penney on sale, and I bought a bunch of them. Dr. Mass says, if you missed the first Wraith of God, shame on you. Well, what did Scotty say in Star Trek? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know what that means. But if we get to 100K, we get to add Kit Carter. So I'm doing a card today, but we're also going to get 15 story pages in there when we get to 100K. So we want to push that. You guys, all the help I can get from you on social media, retweeting, talking to your friends, telling your enemies, to buy the book, to back the book. We'll get that final count up to 100 pages, and then we all benefit from that. Yeah. Back when Avengers was good. Yeah. What do we got here? The Tomb of Dracula one as a shirt would be cool. I might do a well, I'm actually looking at doing a print campaign, and I mentioned this earlier on an earlier broadcast that later in the or early next year, I'm going to do a print campaign where we do the Dale Keown werewolf as a blacklight poster. I mean, full size too, like 24 by 36 posters. I'm probably going to make a poster out of my guest artist cover, who I talked to today. Ooh, breaking news. And promises me he'll have it to me by Wednesday. So fingers crossed. And then we're going to also have a Kit Carter insert poster, which is like a movie poster insert, 14 by 36. And then we'll have some of the covers previously used, like, the Tomb of Dracula tribute cover, or, maybe the wraparound cover, things like that, as 11 by 17 prints that are all available in just a print campaign. It'll be the only thing that you can buy, and it'll only be up for like 30 days. And we'll just take all the orders, go to the printer, and get those things shipped out, because they'll all be separate items. They'll have to ship in poster tubes, obviously, and not with the books. So anyway, keep your eyes open for that. And of course, I will be keeping you abreast of those things as they develop. Dan says, I missed the first Wraith of God, but I added it on this time and got the Dale Keown cover. Excellent, Dan, because those are sold out now. So you got in there early and got it. Excellent. Thank you so much. Marcus Killer says, by the way, I finally backed. Thank you, Marcus. Tarks9 from Canada is giving me the hail. How's it going, Tarks? Thanks for joining us. All right. David said he's going to be late, so I'm not sweating bullets over that. But let's change cameras to the wonderfully sharp and in focus high def Razor Kaio. And there we go. So I've got kind of a rough layout for Kit here. Now you'll notice this is going to be a trading card, but I did it really large sized. Why? Well, because I'm going to sell the original. That's why. Were you kind of crazy or something? All right. So I did kind of rough this in, but now we're gonna get to cleaning this up. See if I can get in here a little bit tighter. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat while I'm doing this. But if I don't get to your chat right away, please give me a little bit of time, and hopefully we'll get to all of it. So for years, and I literally mean years, I've been getting approached by people wanting me to do something with Kit Carter, because I was doing prints, and she adorned the cover of a couple of my sketchbooks, and everybody's like, when is this going to be a comic? When are we going to do something with this? Well, now is that time. And we'll see what the response is, because I think it'll be good, but we may have to do a Kit Carter campaign. And I wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, I think everybody seems to really want me to do that. But the hard thing about it is, do I skip a Wraith campaign just to do a Kit Carter and then come back to Wraith? I mean, I could do that, but don't know if I. That's the problem with launching a solo campaign of a solo book with a new character is you're essentially kind of leaving some of the other ones in the dust for a while, which unfortunately I don't want to do. So I may just continue some backup stories like I'm doing on this campaign, which I think people are really going to like overall because it's like you get multiple comic books in a single package, a single order. And it seems to be the most effective way to expand and grow my universe of characters without taking, 20 years to, get out 20 books or something. So but we'll see. We'll see how it all evolves. Of course, the most important thing is getting this girl's face right. I want to make sure she doesn't. Dang it, that's too thick. I don't want to give her a wandering eye like that girl from the Fire Tonight video that seems to have stirred up quite a bit of controversy on Ethan's channel about whether she's got a goofy eye or not. Billy Tucci says no, she's a beauty. Shane Davis says no, she's got a weird eye. And my wife, Shelley, agrees that she does have a funky eye. So I had never really noticed it. So, but boy, I'll tell you, if one of my characters ends up cross-eyed, because the inker blew it, or maybe I blew it, that's pretty frustrating. I hate that. Still not in love with these eyes yet, but we're getting there. Wall-eyed girl, Angela says. That's who we're talking about. Let's see. So Angela's here. AJ's here. Amanda B is here. We got a lot of people dropping in. Blackjack says he backed a few days ago. Also grabbed volume 1. Missed the Dale cover by a day. Oh, bummer. Sorry about that. But you know what? The insides are still the same. And the Dale cover, that image is inside the book in black and white. So you still get the Dale image even though it's not on the cover. So I got you covered, man. I got you covered. Let me get this nose right. See, that's kind of the problem with drawing on live streams. You guys see me screwing up and redoing and screwing up and redoing. Go, yeah, he's human too. That's the hardest thing about drawing, is getting what's in your brain on the paper the way that you see it in your mind. It's always challenging, at least for me. All right, that's looking better. Kevin Thomas says, I think a main book with 1 or 2 shorts would be good, like a long Garbage Man story, but with a short Wraith backup. That's my dog. And, I take him for a walk every morning to wear him out, right? But all it does is seem to hype him up even more. So I don't know. Anyway, so please forgive the background howling. If a werewolf gets mooned, does he still transform?
Boo!
Yeah, you're gonna have to try harder than that, Kevin. Aaron fired Gail for Dale. Aaron, if they ever made a movie of Kit Carter, Wraith of God, do you have any actors who you'd like to see play the characters? You know, I'm starting to get those questions, and I don't really know. I'm sure whoever I liked, they wouldn't pick anyway. Probably the person, but she's too old. See, that's the problem. All my favorite actors and actresses are like too old, and I don't really keep up with all the new, younger actors and actresses. I guess I should just say actors, right? Everybody's an actor now. There's no such thing as an actress. You know, somebody like, she was in Legally Blonde. I mean, she's older. She's too old now to do Kit Carter, but when she was younger, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, she'd have been probably perfect. I think there's the girl they got to play. God, I don't like that mouth. The girl they got to play Marilyn Monroe that was in Knives Out. I would have never picked her because, she seemed sort of too ethnic to play Marilyn Monroe. But the stuff I've seen of her as Marilyn Monroe, she looks really good. She's very pretty. So basically they could take anybody and kind of make them work. I get this chin right. Don't want to make her neck too thick. I'm actually going to be glad to get the opportunity to do some more Kit Carter because I have 8 pages done of a 15-page story. A couple of them, if you're interested, are on my my website, on my blog page, and they're in black and white. The color ones were part of a deal with people who bought a limited print that I made, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And if you bought the print, you could see the first 6, what I called episodes of Kit Carter. They were 1-page episodes in color. And it was on a special website and all that kind of stuff. And the website broke down and I never got it fixed. Although I shouldn't say website, but web page or link to. It was a special section on my web page. But those are the ones I've been sharing on social media, the full color ones. So those will be, reprinted in here or in the Wraith of God once we hit the 100K. They'll be added. But then there's going to be 7. Shut up! There's going to be 7 new pages. I tell you, man. Never fails. Never fails. But everybody's got a lunch right now, right? So that's like, oh, I'll call Aaron. It's lunchtime. I'm like, no. It's a regular ruckus around here. The dog's freaking out. My phone's ringing. Kit's in danger. It's just insanity. What are you going to do, really? Did anybody see that there was a? I just got notified that there was a Captain Marvel omnibus coming out that has we'll have I don't know, about 80 pages of my stuff in it from Marvel. I don't think they're going to send me a comp copy though. And I'm sure as heck not going to spend $100 on a Captain Marvel omnibus that I should get for free. That's my son calling, so I'm just giving him a. He probably wants to talk about comics because we're like, if any of you guys have noticed, I just started posting like short videos of me unboxing like old comics that I order. And so my son is always on the lookout for the next great deal. I'm a bit of an addict when it comes to collecting, I have to admit. I probably should get a circle template for that bubble helmet. That's an excellent question right there. The bigger question is, will I answer it? I used to do sketch cards all the time. There was a period of time. There we go. That's perfect. There was a period of time. There was a period of time. Let me say that for the fourth time. There was a period of time when sketch cards were just the rage, right? And you'd see things like, people getting an Adam Hughes sketch card, and they would be selling it for like $1,000. So I was literally, and this sounds like a joke, and I guess it is now, but people were coming up to me and going, "Hey man, will you do these sketch cards?" And all you can do is a little headshot on a sketch card, right? I was charging $400 to do one of those because I knew they were going to put them up on eBay, or there's a chance they could put them up on eBay, and sell them for that much. So I made them pay, man. So it was a pretty good racket for a while. But now, I'm back to, doing them for like $50 or something because no one cares anymore. That fad has worked its way out, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys have to tell me. But I don't see a lot of the sketch card stuff coming around anymore like I used to. I just feel like I need to kind of tweak the design on Kit Carter's costume. But I have to keep it consistent at least with the first 7 pages I did. So, all right, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the man, the myth, the legend, David Williams, also known as Brohawk. There he is. Hey, David.
What's popping?
What? You go, your cam isn't working? Dude, you just got a new camera.
I know. I think it's the StreamYard.
Oh, see, don't blame me.
I went in and came out like 3 or 4 times. That doesn't sound right. That didn't come out right.
All right.
Left StreamYard and came back in. That didn't sound right either. What had happened was it's just not working.
So are you saying right now it's defaulting to your picture there? Or did you put it on that because the other screen is black? Hello? All right, I removed David. See, this clearly is not my fault. David, can you hear me? This is clearly David's fault. Why am I getting porn bots at like noontime? All right, David, drop out and come back in again. All right, so we'll continue with Kit while David tries to figure out his technical issues. The reality, of course, is that it's not my fault. That's all that I care about. I'm shifting blame. So anyway, yeah, I keep thinking, I need to redesign her costume. I need to redesign her costume. And so I might do that again, but I gotta keep it consistent with what the first part of the story is. I can't just change, right in the middle of the story that, no, I think this costume looks better if I do this. So after this 15 pager, I will maybe zip it up a little bit, spice it up a little bit, change it just for the sake of change. Let me show you, for those of you who have not seen, this was the Kit Carter episode 1. See right there, it says episode 1. This was a limited edition print, which I called a story print. I thought, well, let me try it and see if anybody has any interest in something like this. And so you can see down at the bottom, you go 49 out of 250, right? And so I would sign it and it would be numbered limited edition, right? So people would buy this print for $15 and they'd have access to the first 6 episodes in color online. So this is episode 1, basically. Okay. So what we're going to see in the book when we hit 100K is this, the first 6 episodes. They're in color right now that were on the website that had access to only the people that bought the print, which I'll be honest, wasn't many. And so these will be in the book, and then all the way to, so there's 6 in color right now. There's 2 in black and white, which are on my my website blog, and then there'll be 7 more roughly added to that. I don't know exactly how long when I'm going to wrap the story up, but I think it'd take about 7 more of these to wrap it up, or at least the first little adventure. And so I kind of presented them as you can, like a Sunday newspaper strip, obviously formatted in a comic book page, because I knew at some point I'd be printing them in a comic book. So anyway, so these are kind of cool. They're kind of fun. And we're going to have 15 pages of this goodness once we get 100K. So don't not back. So we can get all this stuff in the book. Because it's, quite frankly, you're getting 100 pages for $25. That seems like a really good deal to me. And you'll be getting 4 stories, which I think is pretty cool too. So you're going to get a variety of stuff in there. Quite frankly, I'm really excited about this campaign, because it's going to allow me to do just more than one of my characters. And for you guys, it gives you an opportunity to kind of see some different things, but you're not going to get like stuck with some stuff that I don't really want this, or I don't really like this, because it's all going to be important because it's all going to tie in together. So, other than maybe the Kit Carter stuff, because Kit Carter is a humor strip where the other is not. All the other stuff are, straight comic book adventure. But we'll see if there's some way eventually down the line that I can actually make Kit Carter work in the Lopresti verse proper, like, maybe like how DC used Plastic Man, it's kind of a goofy character. But I don't know. We shall see. I may just have to treat Kit Carter as a separate entity. From the Loprestiverse proper, although she could fit with Power Cubed, because Power Cubed is a humor adventure strip as well. It's not quite as off the rails as Kit Carter is. Kit Carter is more like Monty Python, and Power Cubed is more just like a I don't know, a Will Ferrell movie, I guess, where there's some really goofy stuff going on, but there's still some, can still be serious to a degree. So I don't know. We may not get David Williams today. Technical difficulties may hold him out. Hopefully he will make his way back in, but I can't say for certain. I'm eating chocolate covered almonds, by the way, if you hear me crunching. There's nothing like eating on radio to really make something work. Well, Paul, if I'm understanding you correctly, the assumption is that Kit Carter's in the future someplace. She could be just in a galaxy far, far away. Probably not, though. Brody, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. The Green Laser. Esther was given agelessness by one of your cosmic beings in the future, and this is the name Kit Carter? Could be. That's possible. Team up with Cyber Frog for a space adventure. That actually probably could work. Dan says, I want to try and make a Merv the Astro Chimp costume. The question is, can you fit into it, Dan? Are you so tiny that you can fit into it? That's what I want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. All right. Why am I giving her shoulder pads? She doesn't have shoulder pads. I took those off. See, there's been so many incarnations of her costume that I'm forgetting what I'm doing here. Let's bring this back really quickly, the print, for some reference, because I'm getting lost here. Okay, so you can see it's just basically a skin-tight outfit. I had the boots were like really heavy and clunky, but I changed those. So this is sort of the, I have to kind of stay with this as the costume design till I wrap up this story arc, and then I can go ahead and, if I want to tweak it again, I can. So she used to have like these kind of shoulder pad things, but now I just kind of made it skin tight with a patch up here. The little star patch, because she is a Galactic Ranger. Not to be confused with Buzz Lightyear. But I think Kit is probably the ultimate retro character. right? Because he really is a 50s kind of sci-fi throwback kind of thing. And I don't know, man. As we progress in society, I look more and more for the good old days. Gotta make sure I got enough room for that shoulder harness to go up over her shoulder and not get in the way of this, where her helmet attaches to the neckline. Spacesuits, man, they're complicated. They're complicated to make them streamlined because in real life they don't fit quite this well. I might move this hand out. See, I'm constantly erasing. I'm a hack. I should to admit it. Matt Hepp throws $5 my way. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. An off-topic question, but do you know if Mark Nelson is still working his book? No, he was on the show a while back and mentioned it a bit. That's a good question. You know, I was thinking about having Mark on here in October to draw because he draws weird, strange things, and we will. I can address that with him, but I believe he is. Yes. How big do you draw trading cards before you shrink them down? 8.5 by 11. This is 11 by 14. You can't really go much bigger than that because, like, if I put this on 11 by 17 paper, the proportions would still be the same, right? If I want a border on the paper, I can only go about this wide, and then that just by proportion makes it this tall. So it depends, honestly, on the resale. Am I planning on selling it? Because I'll make them bigger if I'm planning on selling it, so it's more attractive for someone to buy. Normally, I don't go this big. Normally, I go about here, which is on the Merv the Astro Chimp trading card was about this big. And that would be 7 by 10, give or take. All right, there's David Williams calling me. All right, you're on speakerphone, so be careful what you say.
How long do I have to wait backstage?
Oh, geez. I'm drawing, man. All right, I'll let you in. All right. He's backstage, clearly. All right. So you got, what is that?
What does it look like?
Well, it looks like a Batman cowl. Are you making that?
Yeah.
For recreational purposes?
Yeah.
So you put on there like clay or something? What is that?
Yeah, it's like a bust, and I put clay over it, and then cast it and mold it, and you know, it's kind of like that guy over there, but my own version.
Okay, so when you get that done, what are you going to do with it? I mean,
I'll just have it. I'll just have
okay,
like a life-size Batman.
So that stuff is what are you using? I mean, obviously it's not clay. It's are you using that?
Yeah, it's clay.
Well, isn't it going to dry or get hard and crack or anything? I mean,
No,
how do you?
This is not that type of clay. I forgot the name of it, but you could, you know, you don't have to keep adding water or it doesn't dry up.
So that's the
really
that's like that new modeling clay stuff.
Yeah,
that the new kids are using. I gotcha. You know, we should be probably investing our money in 3D printers.
Yeah, my son got one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he wants to get another one because this one's too small. So he wants to go big.
Well, I know. Do you know Aaron Sparrow?
No.
Uh, well, he's a toy guy and an editor and a writer. He worked at on Duckwing books for Disney for a long time and different places. But anyway, he he does like custom toys and stuff as well, and he's got himself a 3D printer, so he can do like it's big enough to do like action figure type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When my son was working at special effects place, down in Burbank, they did Jurassic Park and they did the Avengers movies and Legacy. They have a freaking huge, like sits in a room type. Well, it's like it sat in a room. It was probably 4 feet tall by 4 feet wide. It was big.
Yeah.
And they would do they were putting together this Hulk bust while I was there when I visited one time. And it was printing it out, so it was just sitting there watching this thing form out of nothing. It was really amazing. But they do a lot of stuff for Sideshow. Okay. And my guess is they probably did a Hulk bust for Sideshow and they were just doing the printout of it to get it, okayed or whatever, or the mold okayed, or maybe they do the 3D prints to make the mold, right? Because you don't have to sculpt it, right? You do the drawing and then you have the program render it in 3D and then you print out that 3D model. Yeah. And that's pretty much your sculpt that you make your mold out of, I would think, right?
Yeah, everything is digitally sculpted right now. So they have this thing for the iPhone where, just say like this sculpt that I have, where you could go around the whole entire thing and it'll make a 3D model in your camera and you could export it into your 3D printer. You got to clean it up a little. But
wow.
Yeah, they're like super advanced. Just like if you wanted to just 3D scan a chair, just like this is my favorite chair in the whole world and there's no other chair like it. You could 3D scan it and print it out to any size you want.
Well, okay, so does this mean that like traditional sculptors are pretty much out of work at this point?
Yeah, for the most part, they're it's just like how, digital inking is the thing.
Right.
Next is going to be pencilers, painters, and all that, and then all of a sudden, they're having that AI thing draw comics for people who don't draw in pencil and ink. So we're the dinosaurs in it. So the people who are buying our stuff are the people who appreciate dinosaurs.
That's right. the dinosaur fan base to support the old dinosaurs. Do you have any? Have you seen I don't really understand this whole AI comic. So you basically type in a story and it generates the art for it, or
you're describing the way it goes. It doesn't say here's the full comic and stuff like that. You're programming the comic, the computer, and you're telling it specific things that you're looking for, and tones and colors and all this other kind of stuff. So you have to be ultra specific per piece. It's just not like, okay, this is a 5-panel page, and you're not describing it to the computer like that, and said character. So I guess there is some tricks to it, that these people are understanding that the lay person doesn't quite yet. No. But I'm sure it's going to get a lot easier for everybody to do it.
But basically, it's not really AI in the sense that we would think of what AI is. It's it's a computer program that will do the drawing for you. if
Yeah,
you tell it what to do.
yeah, and the painting and all that. And yeah, you don't have to be an artist to work it. That's the problem to me. But also, what it doesn't capture is the nuance of a person. You know what I mean? Or their, because the way people look at comics, at least collectors and real artists and stuff, just like I always use this analogy is that Aaron Lopresti's art is his fingerprint. It's unique to him.
Right.
There's other artists that try to be like other artists, but the keen-eyed artist or art connoisseur could discern the two different artists, even if one is aping another artist. You know what I
Right.
mean? They could go, oh, this person is this and this person is that. And AI can't capture that. They could, it's just another way of being a version of some said artist, but not as good as. And it
Well,
and it
so
and it still
well,
can't capture dynamism of what comics is.
well, so is there how do you that's the question of the thing that I don't understand is how do they bring in style into this? I mean, how do you know what the drawing's going to look like? I mean, who's programming the style of art, right? Or do you have
The
to like
programmer.
scan in a Mignola and say, I want this to look like this,
Yes.
and so it
Yes,
copies that
yes.
style?
That's exactly what it's doing.
Oh,
The
okay.
the the programmer is programming the computer to say, okay, this is the type of line work to mimic, and it's teaching the computer X, Y, and Z to a point. But like I said, it could do say Mignola to a point, but it doesn't capture the humanity and nuances of what I
Right.
like to call perfect imperfections that humans do that makes it their personal signature, their unique fingerprint,
Right.
you know.
Well, I mean, I wonder if, I mean, because I know how fast this stuff is moving. It makes you wonder if, like, companies like, Warner Brothers or, Disney, Marvel, or whatever, they look at this and say, well, we can generate a Spider-Man comic without even having to pay an artist.
Yeah, it's gonna come to that, but I had a friend who was trying to get into this thing, before this release of this one comic book, and he said, "Oh yeah, because I can't afford, the, these comic book artists' rates nowadays, and this would,
Yeah.
get rid of that, and I could just do my own books." And I said, I always told him, I said, if you ever got this off the ground, uh, I would never allow you to be able to use it or profit from it because I would sniper you. Because you're killing my industry if you're trying to put this out, because that's what it is. It's that next step to killing the industry, and every new thing is it, and we're called to adapt to it and become more into the Borg, and
Right.
assimilate and all this kind of weird stuff. And it's just like, I still don't know Photoshop. People look at me like I'm crazy, because I do everything on paper. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I love the original. The whole purpose of why I even got into comics in the first place is because I saw original art and it clicked in me. It's like, oh, these are humans doing this and laboring over this. And you get to see all the, like, if you see original art, you get to see the workings. You could see the underdrawings, and you could see where they messed up, and that fascinates me. We're enamored by the comic book itself, but there's a whole other layer. You know what I mean? Of seeing the labor that goes into this stuff that is more fascinating than the actual comic book in my hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that. And I mean, like you said, we're dinosaurs, so maybe our perspective is different, or my perspective is different. But it's like if there's a comic book out there like Spider-Man, and it's like it's completely AI generated, it's like I have no interest in it. You
Exactly.
know?
But the thing about this industry now is that personalities and all this other kind of stuff that's falling by the wayside, and the current comic book is industry is kind of killing the collector. Like they're spiking their crack with Ajax and all this other kind of stuff, and the real collectors are weaning off of this stuff, because we're getting so much bad product. And so the next generation that even comes into it, and just say the AI comics, which will probably be a limited print, it'll probably be all digital stuff, and they'll get a new crowd that doesn't know history of comics or care.
Right.
Just say like my kids, they
Right.
won't care about collecting comics like we did. And that's the sad truth. And they'll probably be cool with some bland digital, AI comic.
So in other words, I better sell my collection before it becomes completely worthless.
Most of mine is gone.
Okay, well, what about collecting original art? I mean, do you think that, like I got some stuff on my walls from, say, 1977, 78, right? And I mean, 20, 30 years from now, when no one, I mean, 10 years from now, no one's going to be doing originals.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to be like, are they going to become super rare and more collectible, or are people going to get to a point where they don't really care or appreciate it? So no one, once this generation of collectors dies off, that's it.
I think that's it, because again, the major companies didn't foster the idea of saying, this was my opinion. It's like, have an option to buy the original art from the artist, to archive it, and also put it in a museum. Because there's tons of art that we love that is in somebody's apartment that they're just hoarding, and just like, they're like Gollum, and they'll rarely bring it out just to show off to their friends. And,
they're like Gollum, I love it.
And they paid obscene amounts of money for that, and they have every right to have it. Yeah. But the intention of when the original artist did it, he did it to print for it to be for everybody to see. Now for this original art to be, locked away, never to be seen again, is weird. Where some of these guys, if DC and Marvel were actually putting their heads together and they gave a damn about the comic book industry as a whole, they would have been creating museums all over the country displaying art, and it's rotating all the time, and have, why is it that we have, these museums with, this kind of art, but not this kind of art,
right.
We do. I could guarantee you the art that we do, the artists that are in the considered the real artists and galleries, they can't do what we do, but we could do what they do. You know what I mean?
I've always agreed with that. That fine art.
Why are we put on a lower level tier as far as art, and we produce more than what they do on just a page alone? You know what I mean? It's it's constant scene after scene.
I mean, the answer to it, but it's snobbery, right? It's we're getting paid for this. This isn't really. They act like comic art or commercial art that there's no passion behind it. And sometimes, I mean, if you're drawing an ad, which they wouldn't do anymore, but when I was in the commercial studio, we would draw like a newspaper ad for adult diapers, right? So that's not something you got a lot of passion into. You're just trying to do a professional job and get paid. But this stuff where we're like, writing stories and, coming up with characters and creating stuff. There's so much more passion. I mean, you could argue, and I would argue, that there's at least as much passion as what we're doing as any fine artist.
Absolutely. Man, I cried over pages just trying to get through it, and just where the writer wrote something that just touched me and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like putting this energy into it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm no different from any of those people that I was like, oh, I've pained over this and blah, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff should be taken as serious as that other stuff, you know. This one person who was on one video talking about Jack Kirby, he said anything Jack Kirby did, like if you just isolated just a face, could stand up to anything that Picasso did. And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I do too. It's all perception, you know.
Yeah.
It's I don't like Picasso. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not a big Van Gogh fan either. I mean, there's some I need to see, to me, art is more than just social or political statement. There's craftsmanship that needs to be involved in it to make it work for me on all levels.
Exactly.
Now, if you got something to say and your piece speaks to whatever your point is, that makes it deeper or maybe more valuable in a social setting. But if you don't have the craftsmanship, I don't give a rip what your opinion is on anything. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to deliver the goods in a way that I appreciate, you know, your talent and then your voice as well. To me, it's not one or the other. In fine arts, seems like oftentimes it's the voice, but not the craft. You know, yeah. And we're supposed to accept that as being somehow better than what, see, you and I are doing, you know, which is just ridiculous. So, but then I'm not a New York snob either. So I'm a comic book snob, but I'm not a fine art snob. So, but, and it's funny because I took some classes, some painting classes when I was at film school at SC, and they didn't really have, you know, they weren't offering commercial art illustration classes, right? You'd have to go to Art Center or someplace like that. Mm-hmm. They were offering painting, fine arts, right? And I was working on kind of a Frazetta type inspired piece, and I would come in on the weekends to work on it because I just did not have enough time during class, right? And it was more important to me than someone just taking the class. I was actually trying to finish the piece, right? Mm-hmm. So I would go into the TA's studio, and he was painting this. I mean, it was the size of a wall, and it was stone, like stadium steps, you know, from like a Coliseum or some sort of amphitheater type, you know. And that's what the whole painting was. It was this gigantic thing, right? But it was some sort of fine arts expression, right? And some girl that was probably a TA as well, or a graduate student, I don't know what she was working on. But I was sitting there kind of in the corner working on this painting, and she kind of looked to see what I was doing, and she sort of scoffed and said, "Oh, you're trying to do like that Franzetta guy or something." And I said, "First of all, it's Frazetta, and secondly, your picture of, you know, stone steps you know, does not impress me." So, and the funny thing is, these stone steps, it wasn't even well done, in my opinion, right? It was, so I don't know. I mean, they were looking down their nose at something that they would see as commercial illustration, right? That it didn't have value because somehow we were making money doing it, you know? So therefore it had no value in the art world, which I just find really amusing, that sort of attitude. Because ultimately, all these fine artists are trying to sell their pieces for millions, right? That's kind of the goal, right? So how is it any different than what we're doing?
Exactly. There's this
Comics Legend says we need to not fear AI but adapt to it, and I say screw that. He says it's like saying I won't watch a movie because it has CGI and no practical effects. There are some people that feel that way, though. Yeah. If the CGI is good, I don't mind it as much, but I am getting tired because there is a certain amount of artificiality, even to really well done CGI, that if you look at Jurassic Park, the first one, it had some CGI in it, but all those dinosaurs, you know, were practical effects, and they seamlessly married the CGI and the practical effects. And I just felt, you know, it felt more real to me.
they're using it
So,
as a crutch now. It's like everything is CGI, and I I talked to some friends about this stuff, like the Marvel movies and DC movies and the current of today, where when we first started out with live action, from comic books to live action, where we got the Superman, Kirk Allen Superman, and where he
mhm.
goes up and away and it turns into a cartoon. And then we graduated to the George Reeves where it was just all him, even though it was a crappy rear projection of the sky flying by,
Right.
but we like that better, right? And then we graduated to the Christopher Reeves where they say, hey, we're going to convince you that a man can fly.
Right.
And we were just like, yeah, we're with it, and
Mhm.
they achieved some really cool flight effects. And today it feels like we went backwards to Kirk Allen. Like, you instantly know when it's a cartoon, CGI. It's
Right.
basically a cartoon. It's just Photoshop. It's just uh, drawings over the
Right.
top. And I want to know that there's this guy on the wire, but you still convince me that he's in the air, where you use the computer to take away the wires.
Right.
I want to see the guy in the suit. That's the whole point of it being live action.
Right.
So
Is this all George Lucas's fault, do you think?
he's partially to blame, but it's mostly producers, because it's always the next thing. Is okay, what can we use that on and get this done faster, and under budget, and this, that, and the other. So that's what it all comes down to. And they don't want to do the hard work, and they're getting rid of the movie magic. And that's the problem also, is that the advent of DVDs and first Laserdisc and all that kind of stuff, when they started putting behind the scenes stuff. Now
Mhm.
everybody's a director from the couch. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a bad shot. Oh, that's totally CG. Oh, that's so we're hypercritical now. Now everybody could spot it. It's
Yeah.
just like you're telling a magician to show you a trick that you already know how it's done.
Yes.
We were fascinated by you know Sinbad, and seeing the stop motion animation on
Right.
that way back in the day, where we're just like, oh man, and it gave you a creepy feeling. We knew it was fake, but there was still something
Yeah.
awe-inspiring about it. But us graduating so far, just like if I was to have shown my kids, Sinbad now, with the knowledge, that they'll look at me sideways. It's like, you like this?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, what are you talking
I,
about, man?
I did, until you said it that way. You know,
Maybe I
now I
don't
feel
now,
stupid.
but I did.
Yeah, now I feel dumb.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I still I understand the hard work, and that goes back to what I'm talking about. All of that took some serious labor back then to even get that, where now it's just clicks of buttons nowadays. It's just like,
Well,
some people are there to adapt and go for it. I'm not. I'm
yeah,
gonna draw on
me either.
paper.
Well, Paul here says people said the novel was going to die off too, but that's not happening, especially with the independent publishing. I think traditional art will remain strong and sought after many years from now. I hope so. Because there is that sort of nostalgia that sort of comes back around all the time, right? Like we saw in that movie, Klaus, the Santa Claus movie, that was a
Yeah,
return to traditional animation
yeah.
with some new technology added to it that really, really made it spectacular. And people are, I kind of feel like if they had waited with the Princess and the Frog and done that, like say now
Hmm.
in traditional animation, it would blow up
Yeah.
because people are sick. I mean, remember we were so blown away with Toy Story, and now we just take it for granted.
Hmm.
It's so we're just used to it. It's so refined. It's so saccharine. It's so, yeah, I don't want to say lifeless. That's not fair, but we're just so used to it that it's become just old hat. And so now it's like you do something in 2D the 2D looks different now because the generation is not used to seeing it. So that's what do they say? What's old becomes new again, right?
Yeah. And
So
and that was another reason why I even left animation when I did. I could have still been in there. I could have been possibly directing and doing all this other kind of stuff. 2D was becoming. They were always trying to find ways to cut corners, and I didn't want to be associated with that. Because the really good animators were back in the 60s and 70s, as far as I'm concerned, because they put way more work into it, and the life and the character and the personalities, all this stuff is so rigid and just kind of just like it's almost going backwards in the sense of those old Marvel ones where they're barely moving. You know what I mean? They'll do a dynamic drawing, but there's hardly any real animation going on. Like, look at Tex Avery, how much animation was really going on. What is he saying?
Gabe's in the chase. There's no such thing as fine art or commercial art. Those are distinctions made up by asshole narcissists to feed their egos. Angry Gabe shows up, but he's right. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, those are sort of categories that have been put on the art by elitists mostly, and not by the artists themselves.
Sure. For sure.
Angela Curry says, I'm impressed with how Aaron is quick with the burns. Well, you gotta be light on your feet. That's for sure. Killer Squid says, hey, Aaron and Brohawk, I just got here. Well, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Yo.
Jimmy Reyes, or is it Reyes or Reyes? I'm going to say it's Reyes. Reyes Art. Yeah. Jimmy Reyes is here. Never cheap out, and practical effects are brilliant. They are, especially if they're well done. I mean, come on, look at The Thing, right? Carpenter's The Thing. Can you imagine that as a CGI movie?
That thing still freaks me out.
I know. I mean, you can't help but appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into doing something like that.
Yeah. I like the Hulk, like the movie The Hulk, like you instantly know, okay, it's unreal. There's some impressive shots here and there, but how much cooler would it have been if you had a practical guy and then you use CG enhancement on the practical guy? Just say, like, if you did a really awesome silicone suit on a huge, big, WWF guy, and it had all the ripping muscles, but it buckles in places, but you fix that in post with the CG instead of. That's the thing. CG doesn't actually capture shadows as real as seeing something real in the room. You know what I mean? And so if you had a practical person there, and someone acting off of that, and then the person has to touch it, and you understand the tactile nature of, touching something that Goliath, you go, oh, that was real. You know what I mean? And you feel it more, what I mean?
I've often wondered if they would take you wouldn't do it, but just kind of as an experiment, it would be interesting to see, like, if they took Jaws, right, and you left the shark, but you just went in and touched up the little things with the shark that were like, that's fake. We need to, and fixed it, not putting in a whole new CG shark, because then that looks fake, right?
Yes,
in a different way. But you keep that shark that's actually moving water and doing things, and like the little hinge in his jaw and things like that, clean that stuff up so it feels more realistic in those little areas. And it would be, well, that's kind of what they did with Jurassic Park, right? Because didn't what was the guy's name? The model maker, was it Tippett or
yes.
Yeah, I can't think of his first name, but his last name was like Tippett or something. And he did all the stop animation models, and he created a new technique called go motion for that movie. But even when they saw the movement, Spielberg still felt that it kind of felt, you could kind of still tell. And so what they did was they used the practical dinosaurs they made, and then they had the CG dinosaurs they made, and they sort of like they would kind of blend that together and almost seamlessly. I mean, it is seamless in my opinion. How they incorporated both those elements into that movie, and to me, that's the perfect use of, CG. It's not completely CG because I mean those dinosaurs were freaking. They made that T-Rex,
Yeah.
and it was
Crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so, and yet then they still had, with the movement stuff where they couldn't get the movement just right, they would go in and CGI that movement.
Yeah.
So, and it
And
was,
see, that's what I'm talking about. It's just like all of that wonderful hard work and hiring like the best of the best in movie magic and talent that gets wiped away if you're just going to make the whole scene CG. Like putting all those people out of work. Like what is their backup plan? That's messed up.
Well, that's the funny thing. When my son was working in with Legacy Effects, and this was probably, well, he was still in school, so geez, that was 5, maybe 6 years ago now. He just did an internship there, and he was very attractive to them because he was an engineer. He wasn't an artist, and they've always got artists that are looking for work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's sculpting or design work or whatever. But they weren't getting a lot of guys that were interested in actually building stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was in there working on actually building mechanisms that would make the stuff work. And so he's a big movie fan, and so it was kind of like heaven. But my son is very practical because he is an engineer, and they basically offered him and this is in Burbank, right? Living in Burbank, which anybody who knows California, that ain't a cheap area. Well, there's no cheap areas in California, but Burbank is certainly not.
Yeah.
And so they, after his internship was done, they were like, yeah, we'd like to hire you. And they were offered him I don't know, was it 48 grand or something a year to start?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I can go get a real engineering job for twice that,
Yeah.
And so and I would have been dumb and I would have taken it, but I'm an artist. I'm not, he's like more practical, and he's like, nah, I couldn't do it. It just didn't pay well enough. And the guys that were mentoring him were telling him, don't get into this business. We don't know how long it's actually going to be here.
Wow.
Because more and more stuff was becoming CGI, right?
Sure.
And so where these effects houses were at one point, Hollywood was booming, right? With that type of stuff. You had Rick Baker, Rob Bottin, you had Legacy, but Legacy, before Legacy was who's the guy that did created the Predator and Stan Winston. Stan Winston.
Mm-hmm.
You had all these guys doing these practical effects, and there was more than that. There was other studios out there doing this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just crazy. And then Jurassic Park came in, and slowly it ruined all the practical effects. And so they were doing everything was like movie and stuff. Now they were like grabbing jobs. They were doing TV shows like they do The Mandalorian, right? But they were actually even creating stuff for stage plays and things, and tons of commercial work, like the Kool-Aid guy that breaks through the wall, right? That's Legacy Effects, or the Bigfoot from the jerky ads, right? That's Legacy made that costume. Mm-hmm. And so they would have to draw all from different avenues to make sure that everybody had enough work, because the movie work wasn't enough anymore because so much of it was CGI and so little of it was practical.
Yeah.
And so you got these older guys that have been doing it for their entire lives. You're telling my son, yeah, don't go into this business, man.
Yeah.
They had no idea how much longer it was going to be around.
Yeah.
And to what degree. And it's kind of sad because, I mean, again, as us being artists, we love seeing that stuff. I was walking in there and there was guys like sculpting stuff in clay, like these busts for whatever they were, alien or something, alien creature they were making. And you're just like, oh, that's so cool. And they had this giant I mean, it had to have been probably 8 feet tall, gigantic troll that they had made. And actually, they had taken it to San Diego a couple years prior, but it was just up there on this. They had these big metal racks, against the wall. And this was a big, like, kind of warehouse area. And they had this huge troll thing just sitting up there on the rack, and I was like, dude, what is that? And they're like, oh, we made this for, San Diego. It's just a promotional thing. And it was so cool. And you're like, I want to make stuff like that, and it's all going away. This other guy was sitting there when I went to pick Josh up, because I went and visited him a couple times. And then when he was done, after 6 months, I was moving him back to Oregon. So I drove down to get him, went in, we were talking with the guys, and they once they find out you're a comic book artist, they like, you're suddenly cool,
Yeah.
And so they're showing me all this stuff. And this guy had this, and I don't even know what they ever used it for, but this gigantic, it had to have been maybe 3 by 4 feet or something. It was this giant troll head, right? And it was the back of its head had been cut open wasn't there because they had all these tubes and stuff going into the back of it to control its face.
Yeah.
Right. The expressions and everything. And I was like, talking to the guy that was working on it, and it was like, he didn't do the sculpting, but he was doing all the, the hooking up all the rotors and all the kind of stuff to make it move, and all the things that they, the air tubes in there, and to do the expressions. And it was just like freaking amazing, And I don't know if they ever used it for. I never saw it in like a commercial or anything, but holy crap, it was so cool. And to think that stuff doesn't exist anymore, or won't, because it's all going to be on a computer screen now. It's a bummer.
When I worked at Warner Brothers, me and Jerome used to always roam like the Warner lot, and then someone hipped us to the Warner warehouse, and we got to go to the Warner warehouse, and it had like all of the Batman costumes, the Superman movie costumes, and Harry Potter stuff, and it was amazing just walking and being able to see, like, if you're on the lot, they had a little thing where you could go and see some of those costumes, and you couldn't touch it. But when we went over to the Warner warehouse, they were allowing us to touch this stuff, and we were, so I'm like, put my hand in the Batman glove and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah,
I'm Batman.
It was so cool just to see it. But some of it, you couldn't do that too because it was deteriorating. But still, to be that close and see, to touch an actual suit that Chris Reeves was wearing and stuff like that, and the sweat marks in it and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, this is cool.
When I was in film school, and this, of course, obviously is way pre 9/11, right? But we would go up there and we would show them our student body card or USC card, right? And say, I would drive. I had this old Ford half-ton truck that we had built a aluminum canopy on the back of, that we put all of our film stuff in, and drive around, and so I'm driving up in this old 72 pale green piece of crap half-ton pickup with this this homemade aluminum siding canopy on the back of it. And I go up there, and I go up to the guard gate at like Universal, and I'd show them my USC card and say, hey, I'm a film student from USC. We've got an appointment with the prop guy to get some stuff. And the guy would go, yeah, okay, go ahead. And so we would just drive in and park, and then walk around all day and stick our nose in sound stages and stuff when they were filming. And we did go to the prop department, but we stuck around, and no one cared.
Yeah. This one time, this one horrified me, where this was like right after they filmed, I think, the last Schumacher Batman film, and they were shooting the Batman OnStar commercials. I don't know if some of the people in the chat remember some of those. They were doing commercials for this OnStar system for your car, like if you stranded somewhere, or you can
Right.
push this OnStar button and they'll
Right.
come out and help you, blah blah blah. But they were using Batman as the vehicle to say, yeah, get OnStar. And so they they were mixing like some of the Schumacher with the Burton Batman. So they had a Burton Batmobile on the set, right? And I'm not supposed to be on the set, but I was like, hey, what are they filming in there? And then I'm like, oh shoot, they're filming a Batman thing. And I didn't know it was, I thought they were secretly shooting another Batman movie or something like that.
Right.
But it was it was a commercial. So they had a different Batman actor, but he was wearing the Kilmer suit or whatever. And here's the Batmobile. And they were doing this weird pan around the Batmobile. But what horrified me is that they got an actual Batmobile and they cut it in half. Like right down the middle, just to get the camera in it. I said, you guys destroyed a Batmobile just for this shot, for this commercial. I'm like, that's insane. It's like they didn't rebuild one. They just got one and just cut it. I was like, oh, it was a nightmare.
You had to be carried off the lot. You were just
yeah. I was like, why couldn't you cut up one of the Schumacher Batmobiles? But this was the Burton one. This was the cool Batmobile. But I'm like, Warner's had that kind of money, that FU money. We can do whatever we want,
Well, isn't it? It's so funny because you get people. It's like the story I tell about Mike Plug's King Cole cover, right? Where he turns it in, and I just happen to have it right here. He turns it into Marvel, and I'm going to throw it up on screen. There it is. His forearm and holding the axe was encroaching up on Cole the Destroyer logo. Mm-hmm. So he turns it in, and the art director, who, this is the shocking part, was John Romita Sr., takes an X-Acto knife and cuts the axe and the forearm out, and then bends it down so it's not blocking the logo anymore. Instead of shooting a stat of it and cutting the stat.
Yeah.
He did it on the original art. And it's like, when you have people that, but again, to Romita's, I guess, they were looking at that stuff as production art, and it was just kind of like, do whatever you need to do so it works kind of thing. And,
sure.
And I think that's, they don't really, and that's why I was so shocked that it was Romita, because him as an artist, you'd think he would have had a greater appreciation for the work and say, no, I can't cut this up. I'll make a stat of it. But, who knows, maybe.
Hey, but back then, were they selling art for like how they sell art now?
No, of course not. You're right.
Well,
so no one.
That's why he did that.
Right. No one really figured it was worth anything. Right.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of mentality. You got these guys with the Batmobile, and they don't sit there and appreciate the history of it or the creative history of it. They're just like, we got to get this shot. We got to get it today. Cut the dumb thing in half so we can get the camera. You know what I mean? And it's like, I suppose they figure if they needed another one, they'll just build it for the next movie. It'll be in their budget, so.
Yeah. I heard stories about like Stan Lee before, art was being doled out and sold and all this kind of, he would cut up pages and write something on the back like it was a postcard and mail it off to people and stuff like
right.
that. So
yeah, I heard the same thing. Yeah.
Cutting pen. I'm like,
No, it's like, are you kidding me? Don't do that.
Someone needed to slap the mustache off of him. Like, you crazy? This is original art.
But I wonder if, and I'm sure it's true that a lot of the artists, I mean, there was some guys who probably really, like, I'm sure when Frazetta did his pages, he maybe held them in higher. And I think William Gaines probably as a publisher did as well. He knew that he was getting a higher level of art than what was normally expected in comics. So I think he probably showed a little bit more care, and the artist there probably did. But just in the grind of a monthly comic book in the, during the 60s or whatever, especially, and into the 70s, was like these guys were just. I wonder if the artists themselves were kind of like, whatever. What
Yeah,
did Kirby? Did Kirby
it was
really put much value in what he was drawing, other than just the paycheck that it represented?
well, like I was saying, it was early on. It was beat into him to think that way. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Until someone outside of that system said, "Hey, what are you guys doing? I'll pay you for this. This is. I would like to have this.
Right.
That,
And you're like, whoa,
and
wait a minute.
wait a minute. Yeah, exactly. There was a wait a minute moment, and Neil Adams was a part of that. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
knew the value of his art, and he was.
Well, he was doing next level stuff though, too.
Yeah, but beyond what that aspect, he understood the value towards other artists and saying, "Hey, give the art." He was fighting for artists to get their art back, and because he knew the value just across the board. He wasn't putting himself on a pedestal, but he was fighting for all of us.
Yes.
To where we're at right now, where we could sell our art for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Mine especially for thousands, people.
Yeah. I was just on Albert Moy's site. I was looking at some original art, and I was like, I couldn't believe the prices. I was like
Yeah.
a Jim Lee Batman cover could be like $40,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like
down payment on a house.
I know. It's like, wow, man.
That's why I'm not worried about guys like him. Like whatever their future is, in the corporation or not,
Yeah, he's got plenty of money. That's for sure.
I'm not crying. I'm not boo-hooing for people like that.
No, he's doing all right by himself, or for himself. But yeah, it is kind of a it's remarkable how things in a way how things have changed from this was just sort of crap art, then it became collectible art, and now it's not even a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's no, because it's all digital, right? So, or it's certainly leaning that way. And so once again, what you have is you have people returning to this idea that, hey, this is just production art to put a book together to sell it. So I'm going to do it the most efficient way I can, right? And not, they're not thinking about, oh, this could be an original hanging in somebody's house at some point. It's in a weird way. Digital has ushered back in this sort of production art mentality towards not in the quality of the talent of the people doing it, but just the value of the actual art itself, because there isn't any art.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
created to be printed, and then there's nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the 70s, when Barry Smith and Bernie Wrightson and guys like even Simonson, who was not as illustrative, but certainly was doing interesting things, and Starlin and guys of that nature, Frank Bruner, these guys, they brought in this sort of Neil Adams. They brought in this sort of, wow, what they were doing was more than just crapping out superhero comic art for this issue and the next issue and the next issue. They were trying to be illustrators in comics, and that's where you started to see this entire wave of this great appreciation for the original art. And then you see it, it just explodes in the 90s when people finally figured out Kirby should really be worth something, and the Image guys, were rock stars, and they were getting just ridiculous amounts of money for their originals, and they were putting the work in too. You look at Dale's Pit; it's just freaking incredible. And but now then you come back full circle where now they're just still doing great work, but it's all digital, so there's really nothing to collect or sell beyond the comic book itself. Yeah. So interesting. So, and that's show. Oh. We're on live, so don't say anything embarrassing.
Are you? You have me on speaker?
Yep, you're on speakerphone. Say hi to the gang.
Do all the sexy talk.
Do all the sexy talk. Yeah. 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 I'm waiting for that. Here's a first, ladies and gentlemen.
Tall. Brutal, I tell you.
I talk sexy to Aaron.
Yeah, David was talking sexy to me before you called. So
Well, substitution, you can take over.
yeah.
I love your hairy arms.
Brutal, I tell you.
Well, see, Shelley went in for, well, it wasn't your first radiation treatment. It was just like a test radiation treatment, right?
Right, where there's like 57 different x-rays. You have to hold your breath constantly, and there's a snorkel thing in my mouth, and I kept wanting to pull out, so I'm having to like clench on it, and my TMJ is going crazy, and then they wrote all over me. I run back to school with 3 minutes to spare for the class to be done, so I grab the test, throw them in my backpack, run back out to the car to run back up to St. Vincent's for my next appointment.
Oh.
Like, you came up just for 3 minutes? Like, breast cancer is a gift that keeps on giving. Run back up. But I have overhead, like, marker all over my chest. The kids are looking at me. I'm like, they wrote all over me. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah.
So you're all.
So then there you can see them going, they wrote all over her boob. Yes,
You're all tatted up. Okay.
Well, they go, this is just like those overhead pen, normal, right?
Yeah.
They're wash off. But I'm looking at, they show this is the area that will be radiation. And then they go, and it may tan your skin permanently. It would be the weirdest looking bathing suit ever. The randomness, it was like a 3-year-old drew on me. And that's going to be what I look like. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
all right.
So, what you guys drawing?
I just am finishing up actually the Kit Carter trading card stretch goal.
With boobs?
Pardon me?
With boobs?
Well, of course.
She has boobs?
Of course she does. And David is
I love it.
sculpting a Batman mask on a mannequin head. So
I don't even want to know what's going on with that.
it's pretty trippy, man.
Where are you doing the sexy talk? With the mannequin, I don't want to know about it.
No, he's
So stippling in the chat?
no stippling Vaughn. I don't think so.
Oh, because he'll love the Kit Carter with boobs.
Angela Curry says, "Hey, she's praying for you."
Ange, thanks.
Yeah, Sequential Treasure says, "Warm up the language alert button." So
Little Trustee Chili's in the house.
that's right.
Get out the swear jar.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a horrible reputation there.
Well, one that you've earned, though. So
But you know, all right. I'm like private school teacher by day, foul mouth drunk by night.
I know it's just crazy. Phone sex, just all sorts of weird stuff going on. Alpha Proto says, "I got here late. Is that Monster Clay, David?"
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Monster Clay. Okay. So, all right.
David sculpts too.
Well, yeah, apparently he does. He's sculpting this mask on there. So
Oh, he's a Renaissance man.
that's right. He does it all, man. Does it all. So
Well, I get to come home and grade a bunch of tests. That'll be fun.
can't wait.
As if I am not hurting enough. That'll be.
That's right. Now you have to look at all your students screwed up. But
Yeah.
all right.
Well, somebody asked me, for my lack of knowledge, do I get funny points? That means they answer the questions in sarcasm or humor.
That's
Do I
right.
get funny points?
Is
I
it-
go, not an AP, no. There's nothing funny about AP, my friend. So that'll be me grading tests. Really funny.
I'll listen to you groaning downstairs. Alpha Proto says, "Hello, Mrs. Lopresti." So
Do what?
he says, Alpha Proto says, "Hello, Mrs. Lopresti." So
Hello, I feel so official when they call me that.
that's right. That's kind of confirming our age. So
Or respect.
well, it could be respect. That's true. That's true.
I'm going to take it because I get so little
Yeah.
in my real life. All right, have
Okay.
fun.
All right.
See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, you never know what's going to happen on this show. Okay. So have you you haven't done the side yet, have you? Turn him to the side. Turn him to the side. Are you going to make it? Are you going to have it come back that far?
Yeah, it's going to go all the way down the back.
No. I mean on the side of his face. That seems like it's where the opening is for his lower face and jaw. Are you going to leave it
Yeah,
that
yeah.
far back? Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
Does it look cool?
I like what you're doing with the with up on the skull part of it, you know, the forehead and the where you got that sort of uh, ridge there.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to go in? Are you going to smooth that out? Are you going to kind of make it like give him some furrowed brow and stuff, like it's painted on kind of thing?
No, yeah, it's gonna have a little bit of furrowing and stuff. I'm trying to make it like if this was like a metal plate, you know what I mean, in the front.
Gotcha. Well, that makes
You know,
sense,
like
right?
huh?
It makes sense, right?
Yeah. And everything else is like wrapped up metal with leather or whatever. But you know, like how when the drawings they always blacken this area because of shadow or whatever.
Right,
But
right.
if this was actually a thing, you know what I mean, where it keeps that consistent blackness, you know, in that area,
Right.
and so you could see the rivets on the top of it.
So what are you gonna do with the eyes? You gonna put like shields on the eyes? You're just gonna leave them
Yeah,
open?
I'm gonna. I found this this it's like a mirrored mask, and I was gonna and I basically just do like a lens that's in there.
Right.
It's mirror instead of just pure white. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So it has this metallic, you know,
Kind of like your
kind of-
shades.
yeah, but less, you know, mirrory, you know,
Mhm.
but they're just more of a like a metallic. I'll dig it up next time so you can see what it looks like, but it's really cool. It's almost kind of like how Snake Eyes has that full
Yes.
thing. It's made
Yep.
of that same thing, and so I wanted to vacuum form, you know, lenses and pop them in there.
Now, are
So-
you gonna paint this? Are you gonna paint his face? You're just gonna leave it white? Is this more about the
Oh,
mask?
when it's fully cast, it's probably going to be completely either fiberglass like that one or silicone. So, you know, it'll have like a, you know,
Well, so you're gonna get that cast?
yeah,
So okay, so you're building this bust. It's going to be a Batman bust, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so then do you like scan that or take pictures of that, and then they extrapolate that into some sort of 3D model in the computer, and then print it out, kind of thing? Is that how that's going to work?
yeah.
So you have to take like pictures of it, like a 360 diorama kind of picture of it.
Yep.
Very cool. So are you going to then print it out as a mask or as a statue?
As a statue. So it's
Okay.
going to be like that Batman over there.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it on a full giant mannequin with a suit and everything. So,
Oh, you're going to do the whole 9 yards.
oh yeah.
Or are you going to make the suit, or are you going to use some existing stuff?
No, I'm going to make the suit and everything.
Well, so you're going to get a full-size mannequin then, basically,
Yeah.
is what you're telling me. All right.
Yeah.
And so you're going to sculpt over the mannequin like you did here to create the suit, or how do you create the suit? Or are you
No,
going to build it from material?
There's
And
some
stuff?
really cool sports mannequins that are already, you know, kind of like
Right.
superhero
Yeah.
or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And they're headless and stuff. So I would just put this head over that and put the suit over the body.
Okay, but you're going to make the suit, like you're going to fabricate the suit yourself.
Mhm.
Okay. This is
Because
very cool.
you know, every time I see these movies, I go, "Oh, I wish they would have. I wish they would have." And I'm like, "Well, why don't I just do it?" You know, instead of just looking at where they fell short in my mind, because everybody has a Batman in their head or a Superman or whatever, you know, and instead of me spending tons and tons of money on action figures like I've been doing for years, how about just make the ultimate one? You know, exercise myself from all the other stuff.
So it's like, where do you have the time? That's the thing. I want to do. I do want to sculpt so desperately. It's like I want to make this Man Thing sculpture. I've had it in my head forever, and I want to do it, but it's like, oh, well, if I sculpt this, I should be drawing that, and then or making a video for this. And it's just like, where's all the time, man?
When I absolutely can't draw, that's when I like this has been a long process. You know, I've redone this at least, 5 times. You know, and I'm like, it's not right. It's not right. And then I leave it alone for, a month or 2 months or 3. And
Right.
then I'll come back and just, it's not a pressing thing that I have to, and it's also a stress reliever for when I can't draw. I'm like, nothing's coming out on the paper, and I'll just come over and I'll just start,
I was
chopping
thinking
away
that
at
kind of a way to sort of distract your mind from just the constant rat race of drawing and meeting deadlines and the whole thing, to kind of be able to, maybe I should do that. I mean, I should just go. I should do it. I should just go get a bunch of clay and then just start working on the man thing, and then whenever it gets done, it gets done, kind of thing.
Exactly. You should.
Because you're saying this stuff doesn't dry out.
Did you? Yeah, it doesn't. Did you see the Arthur Adams did a man bat just to do it? Did you see that?
Like a drawing or a sculpt?
A sculpture.
No, really?
It was awesome.
Was it? Wait a minute. Where was it, on Instagram or something?
You could probably find it. Just like look up Arthur Adams man bat sculpt or whatever. But
all right, I'll see what
years
I can
ago. But it was so cool, and that was one of the things that kind of inspired me. And I was just like, wow! And it looked like an Arthur Adams man bat. All the details and rendering that he would put into it, he put it into the man bat. It's probably like a quarter of this size. This is life size. So
there's a bunch of drawings, man bat drawings he did that are really cool. Let's see. Is there a?
Did you type in sculpture?
I did.
It's not up.
There's a DC Direct man bat, but that's not it. Dang, where is it? There's a different one. Huh.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I've got to see that. But here's some cool Arthur Adams man bat drawings, though. So why don't I show one of these? It's super cool. Hang on a second here. Here it is. All right, check that out.
Yep.
Isn't that cool?
Yep.
Now, see, this is the kind of thing, and I bought I have one Arthur Adams original, and it was Stegron the Dinosaur Man. I mean, this is the type of thing I would see in his portfolio, and I would buy. It's like, screw all the Avengers and all that kind of stuff. This is what I would buy.
Sure. And you could tell this is the kind of stuff he loves.
Yes.
You could feel the love in it.
Well, I think deep down, he's a Godzilla guy. He's a monster guy deep down inside.
Yeah.
There's one more.
that sounds wrong.
Yeah, I know it does. But those of us in comic land know what we mean. There's another one right there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you see the Batman story that he didn't put out, where it had Man Bat and Batman in it?
So I don't think I have.
Oh my goodness!
Now,
Look
why
up
didn't
those
it?
pages.
Why
They're
didn't
just
it get?
pencils.
Why didn't it get published?
I don't know. I think he did about 10 of them, 10 pages. It was awesome.
Kidding. I got to do a Man Bat story that Art Taber inked, actually.
There's only 3 people that do Man Bat great that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen yours, so I can't say. But it's Kevin Nolan, Michael Nolan, and Arthur Adams. Everybody else, I'm just like.
Well, wait a second. You haven't seen mine, though.
That's how I just said that.
Okay, well, I'm going to see if I can find one on the internet, because I got it somewhere on my computer, but it might be easier to find it on the internet than. Well, that sucks. No one's put up my picture of. They got like the cover to the comic it's in, but they don't have actually the picture. I actually got to ink a few pages of it myself, because we were like way behind. And so Art inked most of the book, but I did get to ink a couple Man Bat pages. I think I saved one. I must have. I always Okay. I'm not sure. You'd think Detective Comics, Man Bat, Lopresti, you would think it would come up. But it Damage keeps coming up, like pages from Damage. I'm like, how is that Man Bat?
Are you putting the hyphen in there?
No, I'm leaving a space, but I'm not putting the hyphen in there.
Put the hyphen in there.
All right. This is pissing me off now because if I knew where the pages were quickly, I could just go grab them, but I don't.
You're mad that some nerd didn't scan that and put it up on the internet.
Yes, I mean someone should have put. Look, they got my Plastic Man cover up. What does that have to do with Man Bat? And I can't remember the issue. Maybe it was Detective 29. Maybe that's it. If I put the issue number, maybe I know this is really exciting YouTubing right now, but there's Clayface. Okay, they got my Clayface, but not Man Bat. That makes no sense. These search engines are crap. There's Dead Man that I drew. Okay, basically everything I ever drew is up.
What issue was it in? Wait, what issue was it in?
I think it was 29.
Then why don't you just type that in?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
people must think that Man Bat sucks.
That's probably it, right, man? That's like they posted everything I've done except that because that sucks.
They said we refuse to post this bullshit.
This guy blows, man. All right, I'm looking for the graphic, the reprint stuff over here because I've got to show it. It's just too important. I can't let it go now. I don't have that many reprints. Where the heck is that? It was like White Knights. They even reprinted it in Germany, for crying out loud. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, okay. Now we're going to get someplace. Although the coloring may ruin it. Oh, the coloring is so dark you can't see anything. Well, I'm not going to show that because that'll make me look bad. I got to get I got to find the black and white files. That's the only way. God, this coloring is so dark. Who colored this? Oh, Gabe LT. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. No, I'm kidding. Gabe didn't color it. Why does everybody color everything so dark?
We're in dark times, my friend.
Oh my goodness. We got people saying Kyle Holt's Man Bat, Don Newton's Man Bat. Alex Ross sculpted Fantastic Four dolls for reference in his recent comic. Oh, I bet that's cool. And everybody's saying, do the life-sized man thing. That's a lot of clay. That's a lot of clay. So that's the thing. If I do a sculpture, I got to make like a metal aperture or it won't hold together. So it's starting to sound like work.
You should do a triptych sculpt where it's Man Thing, Swamp Thing, and Garbage Man.
It's like all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even do one. We need to make this a regular thing on Thursdays, I think. But you sculpted this time, so I'll let you off the hook. But you got to draw next time. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to see if I can find that. These computers now, everything goes up into the cloud and it doesn't stay on your hard drive. And so then you have to re-download it from the cloud. It's just a pain in the butt. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. See, this is another problem with technology, man. It's like, where are my files at? They're someplace, but for some reason I don't have any access to them. Oh, that's kind of fun. That's all. I got all these TIFF files, but I don't have any JPEGs I can bring up. What is this? I don't know. I did a commission of Catwoman and Man Bat for this guy. Oh, well, we'll just save it for another time. All right, so this is about all you're getting out of me today. I got to get back to work on Wraith, but there's the Kit Carter trading card.
Go full screen.
Why don't I do that?
That's nice.
So there she is, looking for action on some alien world. So when I get this inked, it's going to go up on the campaign page for sale. So
I hear Lizzo wants to play that character.
Who's Lizzo?
Look it up.
Oh, no. It's going to be something just horrific, isn't it? Is that ZZO, Lizzo?
Yeah. Like Frank Rizzo, it's Lizzo.
Oh. I'll let everybody, you can look up. I'm sure everybody knows who Lizzo is, but if you don't, you can look it up on your own time.
Someone said she looks like the poop emoji.
That's what you call a really plus size model, man. Oh gosh. I'm kind of ticked at myself now because I'm thinking back on it, and I'm not sure if I saved any of those Man Bat pages. I think I saved one. I'm gonna have to go dig them up now. See, now you got me got me thinking about it now. I have to prove my Man Bat worth to you. Man, we've been getting a lot of porn bots today. I don't know, David, did you bring them with you?
There's no rest for the porn bots.
No. Dan Lawless wants to know, is it just a window behind David's curtain? I always imagined was a cover to a tunnel to a secret ancient temple.
I'll never tell.
He'll never tell. That's right. So you don't have a studio to yourself, right? Is this in your bedroom? It's kind of crammed in the corner?
Well, that's what happens when you have kids move back home.
I know. It takes up all your studio space. You're like, get out of here, man. That's supposed to be my painting room. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, it's 3:12 in New Mexico, as I hear. So let's wrap this sucker up. I want to let everybody know that there's in fact, we'll take a quick look at it if I can find it. There it is. David Williams, of course, has Truth, Justice, Truth, Justice, American Way campaign currently at 121,744, 1885 backers. You're going to have a big page dump here real soon. I think about 13 pages. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you'll get like the first 13 pages of this book and as a preview. And I'm telling you guys, it's really, really cool stuff. So if you haven't backed this campaign, take a look at it. The link is in the description of this video. There's also, of course, a link to my campaign, which, of course, is Wraith of God Blood Hunters, with all sorts of groovy stuff in here. And look at that. We're up to 92,000 right on the money. So here's the thing. $8,000 more raised, and we are adding Kit Carter to this campaign as a 15 pages of story. So you're looking at around a 100-page book. So for $25, that, my friends, is what we call a bargain. So if you can, please visit this campaign and back it, along with Truth, Justice, American Way. And
Also,
yes, yes.
Gabe and I also have Bass Reeves coming out that they're gonna launch on the 4th of next month.
Okay, so that's on Indiegogo as well.
Yes,
And that has has a cover by you, and also a really cool painted cover by Andrew Robinson, correct?
Yep.
So you guys want to check that out, Bass Reeves. That has the entire saga, right? So the first 3 were floppies, and then so this will have the first 3 plus the final 3, all in one big collected edition.
Yep.
And
that's Bass Reeves West of Hell.
Okay, Bass Reeves West of Hell with David Williams, Gabe L.T. doing the colors on that, and Kevin Grievous,
yes.
The filmmaker, screenwriter, actor, also wrote this comic. So, account 964, Aaron, which Red Valkyrie stream will you be on? I don't know. We keep going back and forth on times and availability, but sooner than later, I would imagine. And Sequential Treasure reminding me to plug Comic Art Convo on October 15th, Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. We're doing 2 episodes this month as we're celebrating villains, our favorite villains on this next one. And then it's going to be favorite low budget horror films on the next one. So a month full of Halloween goodness. And I'll be doing a lot more drawing streams once we get into October, because I like to draw monsters and it gives me the perfect excuse to do it. So I'm not saying this is going to be a regular thing, but David and I are going to be doing these live streams, and maybe it will end up being on Thursdays where we draw. And we need to get back to doing another double page spread where David works half of it and I work on half of it. We put it together magically, just like this one, which I'll grab real quickly here. This one turned out so amazingly cool. We're going to do another one. So I did Clayface, David did Batman, and it's one big piece. I'm going to sell these eventually. I have no idea how, when, or why, but we're going to get I think we'll do a few of these and then maybe do like an auction for all 3 of them separately, not, all 3 together as one, but we'll put them up to auction at the same time. So it should be fun. But anyway, so we'll work on that as we're working on all the other stuff that we're working on. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We had a great time as usual. We couldn't do it without you stopping by to help us out. And please like and subscribe to this channel, even if you don't like the content, because it's free, gosh darn it. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you Sunday night. I think Mike Barron's coming on to talk about his Private American project, and Shelley will be here, of course, probably demonstrating the Garbage Man shot glass again, and some other fun stuff. So you guys take care, stay safe, and we will see you soon. Peace out.